and talking about something in which no one would like to find himself or herself. A powerful winter storm, which has been called the bomb cyclone, has brought heavy snow and strong winds to northeastern USA, from Maine all the way down to Florida. And this comes after a week of bone-chilling temperatures across much of the United States of America. A total of 5 people have been feared to be dead so far due to the frigid weather. In downtown Boston, for instance, a 3-feet tidal surge flooded a subway station across Massachusetts, and more than 20,000 were left without power. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh urged the residents to stay off the streets, adding that a number of rescues have been conducted due to stranded motorists and pedestrians. Boston residents posted videos of mini icebergs rushing past their homes. The National Weather Service said that these could be the worst flooding the city has seen since 1978.
If a foot of snow wasn't enough, the forecast predicts single-digit temperatures to move in on Friday. That means the snow from this storm will freeze quickly and bitter cold temperatures will return. Make sure you're prepared, especially in the event you lose power, and stay safe while our road crews and first responders work through this snowstorm.
And in the city of New York, the 2 major airports stopped flights and cars slid off glazed roads. Officials closed the runways at LaGuardia and at the Kennedy Airport in New York. Passengers were stranded far and wide as airlines had to cancel more than 4,000 flights on Thursday and more than 600 today. In anticipation of up to a foot of snow, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has declared a state of emergency for the New York City, Long Island and Westchester. He also warned motorists to stay safe while adding, this is not a normal storm. New York City saw massive delays for morning commutes, with several subway trains seeing mechanical and weather-related disruptions. According to the Wall Street Journal, conditions are even expected to worsen, although 2,000 snow chain-laden buses are now on the streets.
We are enjoying it. We're from Southern California, so it's the first time my kids have been in the snow. It's cold, but we're having a great time.
I hope I don't be stuck here, because we have to go back to Mexico on Saturday, so I hope everything goes well.
It's nice, but sometimes it's tough to be a long time outside, because you have to get into the shops and just to
keep you
alive.
Warm, yes.
In New Jersey, snow fell at a rapid pace in some areas of New Jersey as the first major storm of 2018 unleashed its fury on the region into the late afternoon. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie declared a state of emergency in 4 counties as wind-whipped snow slammed the state. The governor declared a state of emergencies in Cape May, Atlantic, Ocean and Monmouth counties and said all state offices will be closed. Beach cameras in New Jersey showed gusty winds, rough surf and beaches blanketed in snow. And joining us directly from the freezing New York City, there is William Denzil, VN correspondent. Thank you very much for joining me on the broadcast tonight. So, how is the situation? Why is it not a normal situation? New York is used when it comes to the snow, but this seems to be not a normal situation.
That's absolutely right. Of course, if we cast our minds back to previous years, New York has dealing with up to 30 inches of snow to fall in a single night. So this, as you so rightly mentioned, something that is very familiar with New Yorkers. What is slightly less familiar, though, is the other factors that come with this snow. We're not dealing with simply a snowstorm. Of course, this seen as a bomb cyclone, as it's being referred to. Of course, this seen as blizzard-like conditions. This means that winds that we saw on Thursday, upwards of 50 miles an hour in New York, that is somewhat less familiar. Now, these winds very much expected to continue into Friday. We're expecting winds here in New York in the region of 40 miles per hour, even greater in other parts of the northeast of the United States. Now, a major concern going forward, especially as we look into the weekend, is that temperatures here aren't expected to get above freezing. We estimate that temperatures in New York on Friday expected to be in the region of a couple below in terms of wind chill around minus 4, even as low as minus 10 when it comes to Fahrenheit. That even lower, of course, when it comes to Celsius. Over the weekend, that's expected to plummet yet further. So that is a real concern for both residents and city officials trying to clean up and get people moving again.
And William, can you describe us a little bit how the city is coping with this situation? Is the public transport running, are taxis running? Because we understand that nearly 4,400 flights have been cancelled right away.
That's absolutely right. Of course, huge amounts of flight delays on Thursday, certainly more expected on Friday. But we do understand that New York, their major airports are certainly back up and running again, but you can certainly expect a great amount of delays and of course that backlog dealing with all those cancelled flights from Thursday. Now, in terms of transportation, getting people moving again, of course the subways were working on Thursday but with severe delays, and I can tell you firsthand that there are still delays on the subways going into Friday. Now, a clear message from city officials is that if you don't need to be out and about, if you don't need to be on the roads, then stay off them. Of course, the more people that are on the roads driving about, and there's still a light amount of volume of traffic on New York City streets at the moment, nowhere near as much as a normal rush hour on a Friday that you would expect, but still a great amount of cars and vehicles on the streets. Now, this all, as far as the city is concerned, very much hampers efforts to get the snow plows out, to get the salt distributors out as well. Of course, the real concern, of course, is that all this snow that's left on the streets will turn to ice. That could make conditions incredibly treacherous for drivers, even if there might not appear to be any snow actually on the surface. So ice is a certain concern. City officials also urging people to be good neighbours, to check on the elderly and to keep their pets indoors, because it's going to be absolutely frigid over the next couple of days.
And William, as you may imagine, a lot of our viewers, especially the southern part of India, are not very familiar with the situation that you are describing. So I'm just asking you to try to let us understand what it means. You, for instance, now you will finish this talk chat with me. You might have to go out. How will you cope with this? What do you do? How do you plan your day and your movement in a city like New York City today?
Well, hopefully I can talk to you all day so I can stay nice and warm is the short answer. But for people having to go out and about, the real answer is for people just to take a degree of common sense. The message from city officials, like a very similar message that we saw with people that braved the coldest New Year's Eve celebrations here in Times Square that we saw in some 55 years. Of course, people were bracing themselves for absolutely frigid -0 degrees temperatures, wind chills down in the minus teens, so incredibly frigid colds a few days ago. The message then from city officials was to bundle up, wear incredibly huge amounts of thermal clothing, to wear hand warmers, just stay warm. But obviously the real message from the city going forward, of course, that was the message then, and that message rings true today, is to stay warm and to stay indoors as much as possible. It's as simple as that. The message is to only go outside if it's absolutely vital. But of course, we're understanding that around 21,000 homes and businesses around the United States have had their power lost because of the storm. So, of course, that is a huge amount of concern for some families. There is a real worry that even if you're at home, that's not going to be enough to keep you warm. That's something that officials are deeply trying to dig into, to try and get to these families, to try and restore power to these families as quickly as possible.